What's good, everybody? Welcome to Life in Columbus, the live stream. And we are your pulse of what's going on this weekend in the 614. I'm joined by two of the top agents here in town, Oliver Chapman and Brad Winter. And my name is Ryan. I'm your favorite mortgage officer. Let's get into it. Morning, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, Ryan. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I love the enthusiasm.
Yeah, no,
doing good. Let's go. It's Friday. Come on.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's what I'm missing. All right. So last week we talked about the things that we missed out on by being locals here, and come to find out, hearing a lot of your guys' feedback, there's a lot of things that you guys as locals are not doing as well. So it felt good to not be the only ones that are missing the cool things to do here in Columbus. So what we're going to talk about today, Brad actually brought up a pretty interesting article that talks about U.S. population. I don't know if you're familiar with what's going on with the U.S., but our population is not keeping up with what's called replacement. So the amount of people that are passing away is actually exceeding the amount of people that are being born. So we're going to show you kind of what that looks like. So based upon a 2008 census tract, they projected that we would have 18 million more people than what we have right now. So what does that mean for housing? What does that mean for Columbus? And by the way, this is for the entire U.S. This is not just Columbus. But what are your guys' at least initial thoughts on what this means for housing here in Columbus and in the greater sense, the U.S. economy?
Well, I think a couple of things come to mind. I follow Elon Musk. If you like him or hate him, doesn't matter. I follow him a lot on Twitter, and he's been talking about this for a while, about the single biggest threat to humanity is the population decline, and especially here in the West. And I think it's obviously it's a staggering number. I mean, 18 million people is no small chip shot to miss on. So I think it's interesting to think about, because we just talked about a podcast I've listened to with Grant Cardone, and again, take it for what it's worth, but he said there's a survey out there that people in their 30s today aren't having kids, they're not buying houses, they're not buying cars, and one of the biggest reasons of this survey was they don't want the responsibility. It's not that they can't afford it or they don't desire it. It's that they don't want the responsibility of having these big life altering things. And so, I would assume that this number is going to keep declining, in my opinion.
Yeah, good point, Brad, because I have a lot of friends in that demographic right now in their 30s, and I have a lot of friends who are single. They have no plans of getting married, definitely don't have plans of getting kids. And the ones who even are married, I have a lot of friends who just said they're not going to have kids. And I think our replacement rate is like 1.6, Ryan? Did you read that stat? So I think we need like 2 kids per household, breaking even.
That is right. Yeah.
Yeah. More than 2 kids to increase the population.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go.
No, I mean, to Brad's point, I mean, what has our country done to incentivize the creation of new families, the creation of more children? So, I mean, Elon, I know, has talked about this a lot, but there's also been, I don't know if it was Jordan Peterson or not, but long story short, we have not done enough as a country, society, to incentivize more households forming. And I think that is going to bleed into a huge problem down the road. And it's not just the U.S. I mean, China's having the same problem, but with their one-child policy from decades ago when we were kids, that created a huge issue for them now. Now they don't have enough for military and a whole bunch of other stuff. So as far as housing, how does this play?
Well, I mean, you could see it going a number of ways. I mean, I don't think right now it's going to affect anything, but maybe over time, there'll be less people in the market, right, to buy homes, whether the rates are good, whether it's bad, because they just don't want the responsibility. And that could loosen up inventory. It could slow builders, right? Builders maybe, are going on this rapid pace that they're trying to go on right now. And maybe that business stalls off because they're not building these, master plan communities everywhere. So I don't know if there's enough data to really say right now, but it could probably go a number of different ways, in my opinion.
Yeah. The other thing is it's less people paying into the tax base,
Oh.
Social Security. The whole
Yeah.
thing's built up to where, the younger generation's paying for the older generation. But who's going to be there to pay for when this generation gets older and they don't really think that they can sustain Social Security much longer. And that's people, who are going to be relying on a fixed income when they get older. And that's why I think, I don't know, right now you see a lot of baby boomers, they're holding on to their homes. They hoard 40% of the homes, I think, are owned by baby boomers. Now those will get relinquished at some point, and those will come back, I think, to help settle down the market, because I think that will create more inventory to come back onto the market and help hopefully solve a little bit of, the demand crisis that we have right now. But yeah, it's just interesting how it's going to shake out.
Here's another thought. I read there was an article about when one house is bought or sold in a community, there is an economic effect that it has. So let's say, builders slow down, less people are buying homes. Well, communities get less tax dollars because less homes are being built. So less property taxes are being funneled in. The trades will be affected by this. All the ancillary services will start to feel this effect as well. It's just not buyers and sellers and home builders. It's everything else that go into that. If there's a slow of demand due to population decrease.
Here's where I really see it hurting. I think cities, metro centers, they're going to be fine. They are still growing. We're still attracting people. Again, things have changed so much. If you think about the economy of where people live in the United States, and a lot of these outerlying rural areas, they're not getting replaced with population growth, and they're dwindling. And I think you can go around Ohio to a lot of these really smaller communities. Nothing's going on there. It's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's going on there. And I really think about 20, 30 years from now, where are those communities going to be? Because they don't have anything to sustain, people to have jobs. And I think people will keep moving to the cities like Columbus. Columbus is still going to keep growing. There's no doubt about that. But I really look at, small town America, and what are we going to do? Because I think a lot of small town America is going to go away.
I'm from a small town, just west of here, and the biggest thing I always was told when I growing up is my parents like, you can't come back here. You got to go, right? You got to leave, go to a big city. There's more opportunity, and that affects the local economy because, my generation isn't coming back. Our parents are all there and grandparents because that's all they've known. That's all maybe they can afford. But a lot of the kids, just leave and they never come back. So they can't support the local economy. It doesn't grow, like Oliver said. There's not a lot of opportunity back there. So I'm with you on that. I think you'll start to see the demise of some of these small farm towns.
Yeah, I mean, how likely is it, to your guys' point, that these small towns can bring in something like Amazon or Facebook? They just don't have the tax base to be able to take that kind of to give these tax incentives to these companies. They don't have that kind of base to be able to just give that money away. So I think you guys are both right that you're going to start seeing small towns, unless there's like an outlying distribution center, like the Dollar General and the Dollar Tree and Family Dollar DC Center that's up in Mount Gilead. That's
Mount
near
Gilead,
a major highway. I mean, like the steel mills from Mansfield and Marion, they don't really exist anymore.
Yep.
So yeah, I definitely agree with you. So yeah,
it'll be interesting to see in 10 years where this population thing, ends up, because if things keep remaining super expensive and social media plays an effect of all this too, people are seeing that you don't have to have kids or a family to live a potential luxury life,
Yeah. People want to remain nimble. I mean, that's what it is. They have a means to travel. They have means to do other things. I think cultural values are changing. I don't think marriage is, people's top priority anymore, or having kids. So I think with just discretionary income, people just want to remain very nimble. I know people in the dating world have told me that's changed a lot. I'm glad I don't have to navigate that anymore, but people are less committal. I mean, they just like, it's just a weird game that they play.
Yeah, my wife and I actually had the conversation this weekend that said if either of us pass away, she's going to enter her golden girl years, and she's just going to get a house with all of her friends and just live out the rest of her days with them. And I'm going to end up in a trailer somewhere, living by myself, never getting married again. So I think that's for most men. That's
awesome.
Yeah, that's where we are. So yeah, I think as far as real estate is concerned, I think this is a positive because really the biggest thing that we're having an issue with right now is we just don't have enough houses. Not enough. It's not the rates. It's not any of this stuff. We just don't have enough units for people to be able to move into. And eventually, like Oliver said, the silver tsunami will show up, and we just don't know when because they are not moving into homes, nursing homes as fast as we thought. They're keeping a hold of their houses. And therefore, that inventory that we were expecting just isn't coming. All right. To that point, rates, I don't know if you guys saw the news this week, but national average interest rates went down on a little bit better inflation news than kind of what we were expecting, which is a positive, but still we need to kind of keep rates high for a little bit longer in order to hold off the crush of people wanting to scramble back into the market. What are you guys seeing on as far as demand with home prices right now?
I feel like it's finally, it's getting more consistent. Meaning, well, that's not the right word for it. I feel
Reasonable?
like the demand's still high. Reasonable, yeah. That's there. Thanks, Brett. Yeah, but we still people are out there shopping still, and I think the fact that the rates are kind of baked in, like they're not going to go. We don't feel like they're going to go way down, but they're not going to go way up either. So the rate is the rate. And again, what do we always say? People still have to live somewhere. So as life events are happening, as they're growing their families, as they're having job relocations, people are still going to be shopping for real estate. The rates aren't so high that people just can't afford homes. They're just not getting right now everything that they wanted to, they could have maybe a couple of years ago. And I think what was like crazy was I was looking, we hit a benchmark in the United States. The median price point of housing right now is about $380,000. That has doubled in 10 years, which is just, it's amazing that home prices have doubled in 10 years. And it still hasn't had that much effect on housing. Look, I mean, there was still a crazy, market out there. And again, people are still very motivated to buy. So I don't know what's going to happen, to shake that. But for all intent and purposes, I think, people are still have a means to move.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it comes down to psychology too. People, when rates shot up or they've been up for a while, people kind of freak out. But once it becomes just the norm, I think people just are like, hey, I got to move. Like Oliver said, I'm getting married. I'm getting a divorce. I'm moving for a job. I'm getting, relocating here. And I feel like people that understand real estate and home ownership, they still want to buy something, even at this rate. And so people are still going to buy stuff. And I think inventory is starting to get, I'm not going to say better, but I've definitely seen a little uptick in some areas of our market, not all, but some areas have been a little bit better with their inventory. And yeah, I think it'll be a good back half of the year, even if rates don't come down that much.
I think we're seeing that people are just their set point for what they're willing to tolerate with rates is readjusting. So the expectation of to have a 2%, 4%, 5% interest rate is just kind of off the table at the moment. So I do see that people are just resetting their mindset when it comes to what rates are and just going to have to suck it up. The one thing that I do forget about every single year is like right around this time, and my wife has to coach me off the ledge, but like right around this time, we are at the lowest point of inventory all year. So like May to early June, there are less houses on the market than there are at any point in the year. What do you guys think that is?
It shouldn't be that way. School, yeah. But this should be the time of the year we have the most inventory. And the reason that is just it's selling season around schools. Schools wrapping up. People are planning their next, move, and they need to be in the right school district. So they put their houses on May, June, July. And then if they haven't found what they're looking for, they suspend their search around end of August.
Which makes a ton of sense because the June, July, August, September is the peak of our selling season, and then it dies off as soon as school starts going back in, and then it comes back in right around May, June again. So I think you're right, Oliver. I would not want to move my kids with 2 weeks left in school. So there's probably people prepping to get their houses on the market right now, but probably aren't pulling the trigger quite yet.
Yeah, I made a video about this week. Like the forecast for when to buy a house, and I said in Columbus, if you really ever want to look for a deal or just there's soft spots in the market, there's a couple of them. I think July 4th weekend, it's like clockwork every year. People are taking off, suspending their search. They're going on vacations, and they have plans for the July 4th weekend, and that's always a good time to slide in and find a house. The other one is Labor Day. It's the last trips of the summer that people are taking. Labor Day around, just like clockwork every year, you have a really good opportunity buying a house. And then it's, in December with, Thanksgiving and Christmas, New Year's, it's another time where I'm just I always look back, I'm amazed at sometimes what people snag houses for at those times.
Yeah. Well, also, I always find too, the weather. I know it's a little off topic, but the weather, if it's raining out, if it's snowing, go out and get a house. A lot of people just no, it's bad out. I'm not going to go, and you can get some deals.
So true. Yeah. I mean, you sit in open houses and it's if it's warm weather, I mean, it's a flood of people. And if it's just a little bit of rain, it's just they're trickling in. And I'm it's amazing. It always amazes me that the weather would stop people from going out to find a house.
Sheesh. Well, I mean, are you guys seeing any price reductions right now or price cuts? I've seen a couple, but probably not what a lot of people are hoping for.
Yeah, not for what people are really hoping for.
Yeah, and even if something, I feel like even if something makes it past the first weekend and it gets in contract the second weekend, it's still not at a big discount. It's not like it's some massive price cut's going to happen or they're getting it for dirt cheap. I mean, so I just don't think, I think prices are just holding steady.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. One of the things we're going to play pretend here for a second, and I wanted to get your guys' take on this. We talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago, but the Key Bank building has officially filed for foreclosure, and I'm going to butcher how to pronounce their name, but it's not actually Key Bank that owns the building. It's Broad Street. Brad, you nailed how to pronounce it. Could you help me out here, brother?
Brock. I was trying to make
the question I would ask you guys. This is the building itself is 265,000 square feet. So my question to you is what would each of you guys do with this building if you bought it today? So they gave it to you for $1, what would you buy? What would you do with the building?
I mean, it has to be some. Yeah, no, I know it has to be some type of mixture of mixed use. So, hotel space is still doing very well. I think the Airbnb market recently is taking a step back, and I think that you could do a really good hotel space in a building like this. But you still have to add, maybe some more condominiums in the top level penthouse areas. Leveque Tower did that, and it was very successful in doing that conversion. And then, again, they're empty because the whole office space industry with the work from home shift during COVID has really put a hurt on a lot of these buildings nationwide. I've seen foreclosures on a lot of there's a big one in Texas going on right now. And somebody just bought it for $130 million just a couple of years ago, and they're selling it pennies on the dollar today. And this is going on everywhere. And back in my younger days, guys, I used to go door to door, business to B2B. So I used to go B2B selling copy machines. My territory was these downtown buildings, and it was a cool job because I had to basically find I'm showing up this is cold knocking. So you have to get by security and be able to get into some of these buildings and go up. and talk to people, but I was amazed at how many vacancies a lot of these downtown skyscrapers had. I just assumed that they were all, full. And when I got in there, it was kind of lonely in a lot of these buildings, just like this Key Bank building, where you go floor by floor by floor, and they're just sitting vacant. And that was, maybe 10 years ago, over 10 years ago.
So, I
Well,
mean, I like the, oh, go ahead. Sorry. Keep interrupting you.
No, after you, sir.
I like Oliver's idea of a hotel with some condos, because we don't have enough modern condo options downtown. A lot of those buildings are super old. There's no amenities. It's not modern. Parking's terrible. Whatever you want to call it, they're not that great. And so having a place that maybe has 300 units in it or something like that would be awesome. And goes from those 1 bed, 1 bath all the way up to the pet house. But having a hotel with some restaurants in the area, like making it kind of like its own thing, would be awesome.
Yeah, but
That would have been my
plenty of room to
suggestion,
do
because
stuff.
what was that?
So there's plenty of room to do stuff down there.
I agree. I mean, you can see parking here is just shit, and I think one of you guys mentioned that beforehand, but I mean, it's over 200,000 square feet. You divide that by a 2,000 square foot unit, you could put 132 units in there. And if you're just charging $1,500 a month, that's almost 200 grand that you can make a month on rents. And that's just pure rental units. But I think that's one thing that we really don't have a lot of here is high-rise residential. And you see that in a lot of different cities, but I'm still kind of scratching my head why no one's considered that here.
But
So,
it goes back to parking, Ryan. I mean, if you want to do a condo conversion or apartment buildings, where do people park? And you have to have a garage space either underground or next door that people can easily get in and out. And I'm looking at a building like this, on your view right here, and like, I don't know where anybody would want to park. The other thing you have to have is you have to have the amenities. And if it's in the wrong location in the downtown and you don't have any, amenities, because I'm talking to a developer right now, and everything that he's developing mixed use, and we're looking at downtown because, with the increased density zoning that they're allowing for, he wants to build in a lot of the amenities in the, and let's just call it a mid-rise or a high-rise, because you have to have something there that people would really gravitate to want to live there. Otherwise, these are big city blocks and people aren't accustomed to walking long distances, because again, everything today is about convenience. So what amenities could you put in a building like this for people? And a lot of it's like, and this is an older building, but what he's has designed is like, the sexy rooftop pools and rooftop restaurants and coffee, shops and lounges and gyms in the building and things, even salons, but like make your whole, like a whole mall into the building.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I'm just sitting here looking at the parking, and there's not shit for parking.
Yeah. I was talking to a commercial broker who I've become, he's kind of become my referral partner a little bit. And I was asking him, he works with some really big developers here in Columbus, and I was asking why we don't have more of this, and I mean, it makes sense. And I kind of probably already knew this, but he brought to the fact that like these developers can make more money with rentals, than building condos. It's just a better numbers game for them at the moment. With running it as a business, they get it all rented out to a certain percentage. They can raise rents a little bit, and they can turn around and sell it to a big institution and make a ton of money, just like Gravity's doing and trying to doing. So I think that's why we probably don't see it, even though I think we have a need for it. It might not be something that a developer is going to do consistently.
And it's expensive. I mean, think how old that building is. And so if you're going to have to do some type of conversion, because again, it's all office space in there right now. So, I mean, 200,000 square feet, do the math. That's a lot of money to go into and do a conversion. So I'd be really interested to follow this actually, Ryan, and see who's going to buy it, what their plans are going to be.
Well, have you guys heard anything about the Chase building? Because I know we talked about this when we first started doing this live stream. I haven't heard hide or hair of what's going on with that building since the news broke that they're going to let it go.
Yeah, I haven't heard any updated news. What I would
Yeah.
like to see is how they would demo the key building with how the demo would work and not hitting all the other buildings. And so maybe they'll just do that and start over.
We need another surface lot downtown is what we really need. If you're watching this, the locals hate, and I do too. It's like you drive downtown and there's so much prime real estate in some of these areas downtown, and like they're just surface lots for parking, and people have owned them forever. But they make a lot of money, on monthly parking for employees to be working downtown. So they hoard all this prime real estate, and people are like, can we please get rid of all these surface lots downtown? I've never seen anywhere like it. It just has so many surface lots.
So you're saying put a couple story parking lots in these places instead?
Well, maybe some parking garages. I don't know, but yeah.
I mean,
right.
Columbus has so many underground parking. You can just go underground for parking. I mean, we have a lot of that already.
Yeah,
which is great. So
is great.
I would just say, like, let's use the real estate to build more residential options for people.
Yeah.
Now, if they did that, do you think people would be willing to live that close or basically in downtown proper?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if it has amenities and it's more updated and modern. 100%.
Yeah.
It's good to know. Well, if you're a developer and you're listening, we the people are speaking. You just need to get your shit together. All right. Last thing is what is going on this weekend. Let me see here. Get back to share screen. So I know that both of you guys are just super tatted up. So one of the biggest things that's going on this weekend is Hell City Tattoo Fest is coming back. And if you haven't been there, it is amazing people watching. So I would definitely recommend going. So yeah, it's a good time, and it's something that's unique to Columbus. I don't think that this is really happening many other places, and there's a lot of good artists that come in. So Brad, I know you wanted to get a tramp stamp. Now is your opportunity, sir.
Gosh. I used to want to get a tattoo, not a tramp stamp, and I would like look at this design. My mom's an artist, and I had her draw it for me one time. And I would look at it for years and years and years, and I was like, I'm too big of a baby. I don't want to feel the pain.
Well, tell us more. What tattoo are you planning on getting?
Yeah, we got to know.
Man. All right. It was like I like compasses, right? I like a compass. So it was like a map, an old school map with some compass tools and all those fun things that I thought was cool back in the my early 20s. Glad I don't have it. That's for sure.
Well, go down, consult some of these artists this weekend and see what they can do for you, Brad.
This is the weekend.
Guys,
I'll even pay for it.
No, okay, all right, I'll take you up.
Take me up on it. If you do the compass tattoo, I'll pay for it.
We could get like Jim Harbaugh. He got the Michigan tattoo. How bad was that? Did you guys see that when he made that bet?
Oh, yes.
That's how he drew that on himself.
Looked like a jailhouse tat.
Yeah, something.
Or what about
any tattoos,
life? I was thinking about getting a Life in Columbus tattoo. All three of your faces across my chest, and yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm just that dedicated to the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
No, I would look stupid in tattoos. I wish I could, pull it off, but I've thought about it, but no, I could.
I don't think I'm cool enough anymore.
No, I'm not cool enough. No, not at all.
I actually got a comment coming in from one of the YouTube channels. So do you guys do walkthrough videos of Columbus and the surrounding suburbs? I'm from Florida and considering moving to Columbus. Well, Pierre Lair, Joseph, you are in the right place because these guys are proficient when it comes to the walkthrough stuff and giving you guys what you need as far as local stuff. So if you're still watching, comment what kind of videos that you're looking for, what areas, and these guys will definitely get you dialed in.
I know exactly what she's talking about. And we just did one, so it will air next week. We did one in Hilliard, but we're going to be doing one every single week. The next one we have coming up will be Worthington. I know Brad does them too, but they're just neighborhood vlogs. Like it's really walking the streets and kind of like letting you know like what price points in certain zip codes or zip codes and suburbs and kind of what does it feel like to be in those suburbs, because like to her point, she lives in Florida. Columbus still is a really big city, and I don't know how much you can really tell just, searching through Zillow and searching through online, information about Columbus until you actually see from, more of a firsthand perspective on the ground. So definitely check out those videos, Brad. I know because Brad, you've done this longer than I have, and so I just will have my first one coming out next week. But
yeah, I mean they're great. Oliver, you said you got some stuff. I've got some stuff on the channel, and people, I think out of all the videos I've ever done, people like the neighborhood tours the best.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you're, I've got a couple of them just in my car, and I just did it on my phone, and those seem to catch the interest of people out there the most. So yeah, we both have channels, so check them out, and yeah, feel free to ask any questions.
Yeah, one of the things that I heard this morning as an opinion on content is we don't talk enough about the hairy side of what we do. It's always the fluff. If we're doing a restaurant review, it's always amazing. You got to check this out, but you don't talk about the waiters who looks like they just rolled out of bed and are still hungover. So like one of the things that I love about these guys' content is they will talk about the gnarly stuff in specific areas. So they're going to shoot you straight when it comes to what you're looking for in these areas. So I definitely recommend, if you're still watching, make sure that you're subscribing to both of these guys' channels. Once again, Oliver Chapman and Brad Winter. They'll definitely make sure that you're taken care of. Now, there's other people in Columbus that are doing content, not to take anything away from them, but these guys are the pinnacle of what you need to be paying attention to as far as what areas on YouTube. Cool. Well, what are you guys getting into this weekend besides Brad's tramp stamp?
Good question, Ryan. I'll be working this weekend. Still have a lot of showings to get after this weekend. So excited. We got some cool stuff. I like going still out to the rural areas. I've got a couple of clients who want to see some stuff in the rural areas, and I just think those are always really fun. So excited to go out there and explore with them.
Yeah, I've got same with Oliver, a bunch of showings. I'm actually throwing my first housewarming party for a client.
Nice.
I'll let you know how it goes. So that was an idea that my real estate coach kind of came up with, or has done it in the past, and told me, he's like, hey, I think this would maybe be good to do. So we're gonna do it. So I've got that tomorrow, and then a bunch of family stuff, and my wife keeps my social calendar, pretty busy. So I don't have any time to myself.
Do you guys have a friends group, Brad, that you guys meet up regularly with?
Yeah, we have a supper club group, and tonight we're going to Barcelona. So once a month we get together. We all have kids.
How do you get in on that?
Babysitters. Hey man, anybody's
Ryan
welcome.
and I just not cool enough for your supper club.
Supper sounds very proper.
Dude, Barcelona is that's a really good spot down there. I like paella, so that's good boy. Yeah.
I was hoping for the patio tonight, but I don't think it's going to be that nice out. So that's the only bummer.
Oh yeah.
But Ryan, what about you?
So I think this is out towards your area, Brad, but I think Red Twig Farms, they were open to the public, and then they closed it down, and then it's just commercial. But they opened it up for kind of their castaways. My wife loves peonies. And that's what they're known for, is they're a peony farm, and they're incredibly
something else.
It's a pain in the ass flower, and this is really the only place that you can get a bunch of them. So we might be heading out there since they dropped the gate to the public, so we might head out there before they close it again.
Cool.
You have good weather for it. I think it's like 80s and sunny pretty much this weekend, right, guys?
Love it.
Yeah.
Finally.
Love it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate both you guys. Love you guys. If you are watching at home or watching on the replay, make sure that you comment. Make sure you let us know what you want to hear from us. Once again, we are your pulse of what's going on in the 614. We appreciate you, all three of you guys who joined today. And hopefully we'll get to see you guys next week. And once again, make sure to check out these guys' channels if you guys are looking for specific neighborhood content and what you can glean from their experience in these areas. So anything you guys want to add before we sign off?
No,
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys next week. Appreciate you guys. Make sure to tune in next Friday at around 10:30. We'll do this every single Friday. So if nothing else, have a great week and enjoy the sunshine. Peace.
See y'all.